Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel Mapits, Manual Automation and Performance Testing. So in the first class we have discussed about the basic understanding of the performance testing. What is performance testing? So what are the different types of testings we have in that, right? So high level some of the terminologies which we have discussed about it. And today I am going to talk about the non-functional requirements. So any testing, right? So it starts with the requirements gathering, basically, right? If you see a SDLC or SDLC life cycle, right? So basically, once we have a kickoff of the project, then so we start with the first thing is requirements gathering. So what are the requirements we need to gather as a part of performance testing? So as I mentioned earlier, performance testing is a non-functional testing. That's why we call these requirements what we are gathering or call it as a non-functional requirements. That's called in the short form NFR. Okay. So the first thing, so I'm sharing here screen. If you see, the first thing is we should know the application technology. So why we should know the application technology is because the application can be developed in various technologies by using various technologies, right? It could be a Java, it could be a .NET, C, SAP. So there are plenty of technologies we have in the market now, right? So we should know that what technology they have used to develop this application, one thing, and what type of application it is. So why should we know is to understand which protocol can be used for this application to automate it or develop the scripts, basically. So if you see any tool, right, if you take a load runner or it could be any other tool, right? So the load runner is just a tool, right? It's just a tool where it interacts with your application and it convert that application flows navigations what you are doing on the browser will be into a script model, right? So to develop that and convert into a script, right, it uses a common area, it uses a parameter called protocol. It uses a connection or it uses a the connectivity, we call it as a gateway, we call it as a protocol. So protocol is nothing but a it used to read the content on your application or whatever you are navigating on the application and develop or convert into a script format, right? For that we use a protocol. So we need to select the right protocol which is recommended for your application. Okay, so here 90% of web-based applications will go for the web HTTP HTML protocol. It's one of the protocol. Similarly, we have like close to 60 plus protocols in Roadrunner, more than that basically. Okay, so how I can find it out which protocol I have to use, right? So that is where we do sometimes called POC, proof of concept. So we go with some of the protocols and we try to do that, or else you can contact the developers and you can check with them what protocol can be used to interact with this application, so they can give you an idea about it. Okay, so that is one of the important thing. The first point, the application technology we should know. So based on that we can understand that the protocol which we can use for developing the scripts, right? The tool can interact with the application and convert the script, right? So that is one of the important thing. The next one is critical business scenarios. So critical business scenarios, we call it as a very frequently used by end user. So end user is nothing but whoever is using the application. We call the terminology called as an end users. So I am using Flipkart, so I am the end user for the Flipkart, and so I am using Amazon, so I am the end user for the Amazon. So it's nothing but a customers for the business, basically, right? So we need to understand critical business scenarios. That means very frequently used scenarios in this application. We cannot do performance testing for all the application or all the scenarios exist on the application. We need to identify the critical business scenarios. So if we take example banking application, we have balance check, fund transfer, bill pay, and ad biller, login, right? Very frequently we see these kind of things. Some of them like updating contact details or updating email address or updating your pin, right? There might be not very frequently, the prior device they are very low, right? Like that we need to understand that what are the critical business scenarios for the business. So who will provide this is a question mark now. So normally for every project, right, we will be having a person called business analyst. Okay, so from the client side we'll be having business analyst. Okay, so we in short form we called him as a BA, right? So by talking to him or by interacting with him we can get the information about the critical business scenarios. Similarly, the next one is concurrent user load expecting on the system. So what is the load they're expecting on system? How much users this application should support, right? So who can give this information also is the same thing. Either can be business analyst or the product owners basically. So there will be a team from the product owners, so they can give an idea about it, right? Because we cannot estimate that how much user load will be required for their business, right? So it has to be come from the customer who is giving project to us, right, our client. Next, workload model. Workload model, this is very very important, so we'll talk in detail level in the later point. Okay, so workload model is nothing but the whatever the load you have identified, right? So they are saying that 300 user load should support by the application, but this 300 user load is not for one scenario, right? It's not only for balance check, it's not only for fund transfer, it is a mix of all the functionalities, all the scenarios. So we need to distribute that. So for suppose balance check 100, fund transfer 80, bill pay 120, like this. So the overall sum of this all load will be 300, but it will be distributed to each scenario whichever you have identified as a critical business scenarios, and also the dividing that load to the critical business scenarios will be decided with the discussion with the business team or the product owners. So there also we have to see the priority of the scenarios or severity of the scenario, right? So based on that we'll be getting this, deriving this workload model. But the workload model can be derived in various formats or various ways to do that. So we'll talk later point in detail level how we can do that and all in a separate section. Next, test environment. So what do you mean by test environment? So sometimes what happen, the customer might be already having a tool license, right? And he already have some environment for testing the performance system, right? So we need to understand that what kind of tool license he has and what kind of profiling tools he has. So there is a difference between load testing tools and the profiling tools. Okay, so load testing tools is nothing but to generate a load on your application with the multiple users, the concurrent user load on the system. To provide that, the tools what we can use is the load testing tools. So we can get what we can gather as a part of it by default is the client side metrics. So I'll talk about what is all client side metrics and all those things. But so client side metrics will be gathered by default, but if I want to get server side metrics, there is a separate thing where we need to see all these things. Yeah, so that is where one of the things what we use is profiling tools is the major thing to identify, find it out the resource consumption on the server side. At the same time, the bottleneck root cause analysis also we can do with with the profiling tools. So you may not get understand on this, but I will discuss more about it, these two things. Next, deliverables, right? So profiling tools, before going to that, okay, profiling tools example, if you see Dynatrace, okay, app dynamics, JProfiler, JConsole, right? So there are some free versions like Visual VM and JMX. So some there are a lot of tools market. It has plenty of tools in the market, but we need to Splunk, right? We need to understand that which tool can be supported and which can tool they have the license, and what is the budget of them to buy that license, right? So all these things we need to think about it. So next one is deliverables. Deliverables is nothing but, see, end of the day what we are giving as a part of your deliverables, right? Once the performance testing is done, but what we are going to deliver to the customer, right? So in terms of the reports or in terms of the reporting structure, in terms of metrics what we are going to provide, right? All this information we need to understand that. And the next one is, so testing types is one of the important thing. Okay, so we have different types of tests, same the one, right? So different types of tests: load test, stress test, endurance test, spike test. So we already discussed about this based on the application criticality or application usability, right? So how the people end user will be using 24/7 they are going to use, or only in the 8 hours in the office hours they are going to use, like the different regions they are going to use, different locations they are going to use it, the applications, right? Based on that we need to decide what type of test is required for this application. Okay, and the next one, test schedule. So what is our timelines? Timelines is very very important. Okay, so the timelines, if you see, right, like when we are running the test, what time we are going to trigger that, how many rounds of executions we are going to, what type of test we are going to do, right? How much time we required for scripting, all these scenarios, right? When what time how many time when we are going to do the baseline test, when we are going to do the actual load test or actual stress test, right? How much time required for reporting, how much time required for analysis, right? All this test schedule has to be given to the customer, because say I need 1 month time or I need 3 months time for completing this project, right? So we need to give why you need 3 months of time, right? We have to decide that how many resources are there, how much time they're spending on this application, what and all the knowledge they require, all this information we need to gather. Okay, and we have to provide this, and also whether they have any performance issues already observed on their application. That means some applications what happen, they're newly developed applications, right? There won't be any performance issue, and this is first time we are going to do it. But some applications are already in live and they have seen some performance issues and came for the performance testing again, right? In that case we need to understand from them, do you guys observe any performance lagging in your applications, and which areas you have seen that, or which area is affecting that, right? We need to clearly understand that, so that will be more inputs for us. It give more knowledge and input to us to start with our performance testing engagement. Okay, so these are the non-functional requirements are very important to start with it. Okay, for the performance testing. Thank you for watching my video, and in the next section we are going to talk about in detail about, so once we have this all the requirements, what we are going to do with, right? So that is where we are going to talk about the test plan. Okay, so once we have all this information and we start with the test plan preparation, so we'll talk about that in the next session. Thank you.